Season 1, Episode 15, Hooked on Lakers. Talent versus positional need. Which draft strategy is best for the Los Angeles Lakers? In order to figure out which draft strategy is best for the Los Angeles Lakers, you first need to understand the difference between what talent is and what positional need is. In my opinion, talent is athletic ability, it's skills, it's leadership skills, as well as star potential. Positional need, on the other hand, is simple. It's based on what the team needs. All right, so once you understand the definition of talent versus positional need, then you can determine which type of draft strategy is best for your team's needs. Now, who is going to draft based on talent alone? Well, I create a little bit of a criteria here that I think will give you a better idea of, you know, um, you know, who would draft talent at their draft position. Um, an example of that would be when there's a player that has star potential. Um, an example, to be more specific, would be like if there's a LeBron James or a Ben Simmons in the draft. That will be available at your draft position. Well, no matter what your team's situation is, whether you're just trying to get into the move to the next round of playoffs to get to the championship round, or you're just a team in development, um, you're not going to pass up on a star potential like that because these are once in a generational type of players. So everyone would draft a player like that. After that, it'd be an unestablished team that doesn't really have an identity. There's no clear-cut leader on the team, no superstar. It could be a weak team. It doesn't necessarily have to be a young or old team. It's just a team that's just not very good, and they need someone to take their game to the next level. It could be a young team, a team that they just no one has really separated themselves from their teammates to be the clear-cut leader or the star of the team. It could be a team that needs assets in order to make trades. Um, uh, an example of that would be, you know, Boston is always like acquiring, drafting players and then packaging up those trades and getting a player like I don't know an Isaiah Thomas or a Horford. I'm not exactly sure if they were involved in trades or free agencies, but it just seems like they're always packaging up trades. So the more assets you have, the better your chances of landing a better player. And then lastly, you know, marketability. Using drafting talent to have more marketability to acquire top talent. Like I remember when LeBron James was contemplating leading, a lot of teams were, uh, trying to market to him that he should come to their team, and a superstar like that will only go to certain teams that he knows he can, um, play well with, and that those teams will be able to help him to get the farther in the playoffs or ultimately win a championship. So, the more assets you have, the more flexible you have, the more competitive you have, and the more chances you have of drafting a superstar or a star player that's out there. All right, and this time it's who would draft based on positional needs. As you can see in all my columns for positional needs, it's very short and concise because it's, in my opinion, it's pretty straightforward. A positional need is just a team that needs a specific position, and these type of teams, they tend to be, the more established, the more veteran teams that just, need a specific type of player to round out their team. And I think a good example that comes to mind would be like a Clippers. Every year they're bouncing around in the first or second round of the playoffs. They just can never get to the conference finals. Well, they already got the point guard, they already got the power forward, they got the center. They have a pretty good shooting guard, but they're missing the small forward. They're missing a small forward who can kind of do everything in it, and and can score and play defense. And a perfect fit that comes to mind in this draft for a team like that would be like a Josh Jackson. I think he'd be perfect for a team like Clippers. So no matter what player is available in the draft, a team like the Clippers are probably not going to waste their time and draft a player that they don't need, and they worry about trading and getting rid of them later, they're going to go right to the type of player that they need so they can continue growing as a team, and they'd probably drafted Josh Jackson. That's in my opinion an example of a team that would draft based on positional needs. Now you also got to remember positional needs. Um, Veteran teams like that, they're usually not losing enough games to draft in the early rounds. So those type of teams typically won't draft based on talent because they really just don't get the opportunity to draft talent. They're usually ranked higher in the rounds. So just because they usually are a pretty good team. So these type of teams, they're usually going to be have no option but to go for positional needs most of the time. But I you know there could be other cases obviously.
What up, guys? Welcome to episode 15 of Hooked on Lakers. My name is Arshia K. We're here to talk Lakers basketball. The topic of this week is which draft strategy should the Lakers use to draft a player in the next upcoming draft, which is basically next week. It's 1 week away. As mentioned in the clips before, there's two types of draft strategies a team can use to draft a player out of the collegiate level or the international scene. You can draft based off of talent, which is drafting the best player available at that draft position, or drafting a player based on a positional need that your team may have. And I kind of created a criteria for each on why would a team draft based on talent versus why would they draft based on positional need. It's pretty simple. The veteran teams are usually going to draft based on positional need versus the younger teams, unestablished teams, or teams that have a high draft position are typically going to draft based on based off of talent. Now, there's always going to be exceptions, and there's also going to be overlap between the two because there's talent throughout the NBA, but they just tend to be more likely to find talent in the higher draft positions, typically top 5, top 10. That said, what I think the Lakers, what draft strategy I think they should use, I think it's a no-brainer. I believe they need to draft based on talent because they have the number 2 overall pick, and you're going to find a lot of talent at that part of the draft. They're a young team. They're inexperienced. They're unestablished. There's no clear-cut leader on the team as of right now. We don't know who's the player that's going to lead us in the future. We have opinions. A lot of us think it's going to be Brandon Ingram. A lot of people like D'Angelo Russell, but no one is head and shoulder better than their teammate. So we're still unsure. We're not sure which one it's going to be. And then, we need as many assets as we can so we have more flexibility and options, and we can continue being competitive to make our team better. And we also need more assets so we have more marketability to draft future talents that are free agents or maybe just in a trade. There's been a lot of rumors lately about LeBron James possibly coming to LA. Well, he's not going to come to LA unless he thinks LA can get him to the championship. There's also been a lot of rumors this last year on Paul George coming home to LA. Well, Paul George is at that point of his career, he hasn't entered his prime, but he's getting pretty close. He's only going to go to a team that he believes is going to take his team farther than what Indiana could take him. So I think it's a no-brainer. The Lakers need to draft talent, get the best player available at the number 2 draft pick, and hope for the best. So that's my choice. As far as which player they need to draft, I'm going to create a video next week and I'll post that right before the NBA draft, and I'll give you guys my opinion. I already have some thoughts on that, but things can change within the next week. We remember we got D'Angelo Russell, and there's a lot of rumors going around on are we going to go for Okafor, and then we missed up on the opportunity to get Porzingis. So I'm going to do my due diligence as a fan. I'm going to watch some more videos, read some more articles, and I'll give you guys my opinion next week on who I think that player should be. Appreciate you guys tuning in. My name is Arshia. I'll catch you guys next week. Late.